The biggest misconception in the hiking community is that you need the best gear to have a good time. This just isn't true. Today's society focuses on the new and objective best whilst dismissing the old without a thought. If you don't have what's best, it's considered a problem. Rather, you're made to think that it's a problem. A huge portion of online content surrounding hiking is talking about gear, peddling the new upgrades and selling you the latest fads. I thought in the beginning that to be successful on YouTube, I had to talk about gear, and I've tried, and quite simply, I just don't care to discuss it anymore. And this is why. Beyond a very low threshold of checking off the necessary items to any hiking loadout, what you use really doesn't matter. Today's equipment is made to such a high standard that as long as you bring the necessary items for safety, comfort, and enjoyment, you're going to have a good time. The necessities should be pretty obvious, but I'll go over them anyway. You're going to want to bring a shelter suitable to the environment that you're hiking in, and for most scenarios, this is a 3-season, fully enclosed hiking tent. You'll need a sleeping bag or a quilt with a suitable comfort rating. I recommend ones that are rated 5 degrees lower than the lowest expected temperature. With that, you'll also need a sleeping pad, which are typically inflatable, and if you're hiking in colder temperatures, you'll probably want one that's insulated. You'll always need a waterproof jacket and rain pants if you think that it's going to be particularly wet. Make sure you bring enough layers suited to the range of temperatures that you expect to face. This is usually a base layer like merino, a mid layer like fleece, and an insulative layer like down. You have to bring something to cook and boil water with, which is usually a hiking specific canister stove setup, such as the ones made by Jetboil and MSR. A way to purify your water, which is either through a filter or purification tablets. Comprehensive first aid kit to cover most small injuries on the trail. A personal locator beacon or a satellite communicator for emergencies. And finally, you'll need a comfortable backpack to carry that all in. If you can manage to check off all of the above necessities, the reality is that you are perfectly ready to go hiking. There really isn't anything overly special about the majority of outdoor products. And not really in a negative manner, it's just that everything is made to such a high standard. All these brands are in competition with each other and they're all producing really good products. What this means for us is that whatever we choose to buy, it's likely going to be a very good product. With that being the case, the specifics of what you choose to buy just don't matter, and it really has a minimal effect on your hiking experience. I hope I'm not alone in recognizing a shift towards consumerism in the hiking market. And I'm pretty sure this can all be traced back towards the ultralight movement. The desire to create really high-tech and lightweight hiking gear has absolutely changed hiking, but it's also shifted our perception for the worse. I can assure you that I'd rather be hiking with all of my new modern gear, such as a backpack that weighs a kilo, rather than one of the old canvas framed backpacks that weigh 10 times that amount. With the standard of modern hiking gear advancing so quickly, it really forces all of these brands to produce the best product that they can. And when everyone has a good product, you really can't go wrong as a consumer, until marketing makes you believe otherwise. If you were to go out right now and buy any name brand two-person tent from brands such as MSR, Nemo, Big Agnes, those kinds of brands, you are going to essentially be getting the same product unless you care about the minute details. The main point of difference nowadays in this era of lightweight equipment is cost to weight. Obviously, the lower the weight, the higher the cost. But I have a question for you. Do you think that a lower weight equates to a better product? I don't think so. That is, unless all that you care about is the weight. Pretty much every single product of any category of hiking gear, like tents or backpacks, are going to have the same core offer. If you already have a modern backpacking tent, it isn't going to be all that different to a competitor's tent. People on the internet who are fanatics over gear are going to try and tell you otherwise, but the reality is, it's just not true. You're going to get 100 grams over here, 100 grams there, $50 this way and the other way, a pocket here and there. These are just details that don't matter, and they're also details that don't stop you from going out and hiking. We'll stick to the theme of tents. If you're looking to upgrade a tent that, say, weighs around 2 kilos to a new modern ultralight hiking tent that weighs something like 800 grams, that's a big difference, and you're most likely going to notice that. However, if you already own a tent that weighs, maybe just over a kilo, and you want to upgrade to this tent that weighs under a kilo, barely, I don't think you're going to notice that too much. That's only a couple snacks, a couple protein bars worth of weight. I don't think saving a few grams of weight equivalent to a couple protein bars is going to revolutionize your hiking experience. If you're that worried about weight and you're that worried about carrying 300 grams extra up the hill, I think you need to go to the gym and start hitting some squats. And unless for very, very specific scenarios, I don't think lighter always equates to better. I know for a fact that in the environments that I hike in, I want an absolute bomb shelter of a tent because I never know what the weather is going to do. And I'm perfectly fine with carrying a tent that weighs close to 2 kilos than trying to get to sleep in some flimsy single wall DCF tent and waking up completely saturated. Our needs are bound to change for various reasons, and with current marketing messaging, we're going to probably believe that we're going to need to buy new gear to keep up with our pursuits. If you stop for a second and think rationally, you're likely going to find that you already have most of the gear that you need lying around. Or, if you don't think so, there's a good chance that you have a case of shiny object syndrome. If you make good purchasing decisions, like I always suggest, buy once, cry once, you'll find that you're able to separate yourself from consumerism instead of chasing your tail around and around searching for the latest and greatest tech. Take a step back from the marketing and make good use of your own judgment, and you're likely going to find that what you already own is perfectly fine. When it comes to researching products, most of us now look to reviews. The problem nowadays is that for the majority of creators reviewing products, you can't trust a single word that comes out of their mouths. Behind every gear review, there is most likely a script and a big fat stack of cash. I will say in defense of the creator that ad sponsorships, affiliate marketing, collaborations and the like, they're all primary ways for these creators to make a living off of their content. But because there is an agenda behind the camera, the onus is on the creator to prove their word. Due to how widespread influencer marketing is in the world of reviews now, you have to assume that the gear review is now just an ad in disguise. I feel as though now, rather than watching another YouTube review on a product, I might as well just go to the product page and just read the ad copy, because it's probably the same thing. It seems that everywhere you go on the internet now, when you're talking about hiking gear, you're just being fed this great gear lie. This lie that you need the best to enjoy yourself. You don't need the latest and greatest gear to go hiking. You only need the essentials, be it from a name brand or a budget option. It really doesn't matter. You can go hiking. I don't know when hiking ever shifted from the actual activity itself to the gear that you brought with you. If you're navigating through online gear reviews at all, you're going to have to do so with diligence and conservative trust. I'm personally sick of the gear discussion online due to all of the reasons above and from more that I'm going to state. And I just don't really have anything more to say on the subject, because I just feel that it's misleading and it's so far from the reasons for why I started making videos in the first place. I started making hiking videos because I wanted to inspire people to go outside, and this narrative around needing the best gear to go hiking is more so deterring people from doing the activity than it is inspiring people. I don't know, the gear conversation just doesn't interest me anymore, both as a creator and as a consumer. If you have any experience in using hiking equipment, when it comes to making purchasing decisions, you need to put more faith in your judgment than someone else's. There are a lot of creators out there who benefit off of their dishonesty towards their audience, and there are a lot of creators who try to do the right thing. Unfortunately, those who are staying true to their word are overshadowed by those who are not. But I think the proof is in the pudding. You need to look to actions and not words to see what is real and what isn't. I think the only way that you can see the truth behind a gear review is by looking at what these creators are actually using when they hike. And it isn't only about the dishonesty of hiding paid ads behind the gear review, it's also more of the general narrative that us creators are contributing towards. The narrative that you need the latest gear to have a good time when hiking. It's how the cogs of consumerism turn. It's the cycle of buying. It's just like how the majority of people discard their old iPhones when the new one comes out, even though their old ones work perfectly fine. As far as I'm concerned, that's all there is to it. Your gear is perfectly fine. You can get away with using pretty much anything, and influencers are paid to make you think otherwise. That's really all there is to say on the subject. All that matters is that you know what you need to use. Not the brand of what it is, but the actual item itself. I'll continue to give my advice on that subject and provide examples of what I personally use, but the fine details just don't matter. So, here's my revolutionary message. Get this, come in. Stop worrying about your gear, get off of YouTube, and go out into the mountains. Alright, I think that's it. I think the rant's over. On a more positive note, thank you for 1,000 subscribers, everyone. I'm not exactly sure of how it happened, but if it was due to gear reviews, I'm sure that my numbers are now going to plummet. If I'm going to contribute anything to YouTube, I'm going to try my hardest for it to not be to validate myself. Rather, I want it to be to provide value to you. With that being said, one more time, your gear doesn't matter. Go and hike. All right, that's it. I'm going to stop recording now or I'm never going to stop. See ya.